What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we're going to be talking about new evolutions that I would like to see for the Teal Mask DLC, which is the first part of the Hidden Treasures of Area Zero DLC for Scarlet and Violet. This area that we'll be visiting in part 1 is called Kitakami, and it's very clearly inspired by the Tohoku region of Japan. Like, a lot of people have made the connections that is where they're pulling from. So what we're doing for this list is we're going to try to use real-world animals or folklore or mythology. I don't know if that would be the same thing. You know, all that kind of stuff to come up with ideas for cross-gen evolutions for older Pokemon in the franchise. Now, one rule I am kind of holding this video to is that I am going to make this evolutions for Pokemon that are not in Scarlet and Violet at this moment. You know, right now, for example, Hawlucha is in the game. And so Hawlucha's coding is that it cannot evolve. It is a fully evolved Pokemon. So Hawlucha getting an evolution seems much less likely than a Pokemon like, for example, Emolga, who isn't in the game, so they could very well just, when they put it in the game's coding, code it that, oh, it also has an evolution, similar to what they did for the Pokemon that got cross-gen evolutions this time around. Primeape, Girafarig, B-Sharp, and, of course, Dunsparce. Now, another rule that I'm kind of holding this to is that, or I guess not rule, but just a kind of disclaimer, we're not going to get as many as I'm going to cover in this video. I have 6 ideas for evolutions here. We're not getting 6 evolutions. We're not. We're absolutely not. That's not going to happen. There were only 4 cross-gen evolutions in the base game of Scarlet and Violet. 5 if you include Clawitzer, which was a regional evolution. So I don't really count it as a cross-gen evolution. But because of all that, we're not getting this many. These are just 6 ideas that, you know, if they do give us any, even if it's only 1 or 2, I think these would be great candidates. Now, let's get into the video. I kind of hinted at what my first one is with Emolga. I think Emolga would be a great Pokemon to get an evolution. And I found a really fun idea for what this evolution could be. This first one is going to make a lot of people mad, I think. But, you know, start off controversial. You know, controversy, it gets clicks and engagement and, you know, you telling me I'm an idiot, which boosts the video and the algorithm. So, Emolga is based off of a flying squirrel. And I found out that in Japan lives an animal called the giant flying squirrel. It's a flying squirrel, but bigger. So I say give Emolga an evolution that's almost the same as Emolga, just bigger. Just to kind of rib off the fact that one of Scarlet and Violet's most heavily critiqued Pokemon was the Pawmi line, because the Pawmi line, its evolutions, it's got 2 evolutions. It's a 3-stage line, and they all look pretty similar, and so that was a big complaint of a lot of fans, and I think it would be funny if they ribbed off this by now going back and revisiting old Pika clones and giving them evolutions, since now it's a rule that Pika clones can evolve, and took Emolga and gave it an evolution that where it just got a little bit bigger, while still representing a real-world animal that actually exists in the real-world version of Kitakami. That is, of course, the Tohoku region. Now, I'm imagining that for this one, and most of these other ones, they could keep the same ability. You know, if they got anything new, it wouldn't be anything crazy, especially because Emolga here would still be keeping the electric flying typing. Now, this next one is a Pokemon that I feel like gets brought up a lot when people talk about great designs that just the Pokemon is bad, and that is Ledian. Ledian is such a cool design. It's inspired by a Kamen Rider, which makes it even cooler, but it's not a good Mon. Like, it objectively is a terrible Mon competitively. So give it an evolution to fix that. I think it could keep the bug flying typing. You could give it bug fighting, maybe, if you wanted to. Really lean more into the Kamen Rider thing. I say keep it bug flying and maybe give it, you know, have it, I don't know if it currently gets Iron Fist or not. I think it does. But if not, give it Iron Fist so it does kind of get a touch of fighting in it, in the sense that punching moves will be more powerful, or you could do a new ability altogether that boosts the power of fighting moves and essentially gives it a fighting type stab in a similar way to how Delmise has an ability, is it Steelworker? I don't know. This is all on the spot, but it has an ability where it basically gets stabbed from steel type moves, even though it is a grass ghost type, so it shouldn't. Now, I think it'll be really cool too, because we already have a Common Rider Pokemon this time around in Lokix. It would be cool if they made this Ledian evolution kind of connected to Lokix in a way. Maybe it's a thing of they work together because they're both Common Riders, or it could even be a thing of Lokix is a bug dark type, the dark type being evil in Japan. It is called the evil type in Japan. So it would be cool if like the Lokix line is kind of rivals with the Ledian line, because Ledion's all about justice and fighting, in a morally okay way, whereas Lokix is more evil and kind of will fight dirty if it needs to, hence that dark typing. Now, a Pokemon that goes really well with Ledian for getting an evolution, it's always kind of been a counterpart to Ledian, is Ariados. Ariados is such a cool Pokemon, but again, just like Ledian, it just doesn't have much going for it. But I think if you gave it an evolution, it really could. And for its evolution, I am basing it off of, and I am going to look at my phone for this, because I want to make sure I can pronounce this as best as I can, a Jorogumo. Which, Jorogumo, assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly, I apologize if I'm not, don't mean to offend anybody, is a yokai that is a spider-like yokai, which is like a demon in Japanese folklore and legend, and I think religion too. But it is a spider that has like the appearance of a woman. And where I'm getting this is if you look at Spinarak especially, you can make out a little face on its body. And so I think it would be cool if we had an evolution where Ariados is even more spider-like. The legs are longer. Think like a Granddaddy long legs, where it's like, the really long legs and like the body's almost tiny in comparison. And it had a face on it and maybe some like markings on it that almost kind of resembled like hair going around the face. So in a way, its pattern kind of looked like a woman. It wouldn't actually have like a woman coming out of the spider like most depictions of the Jorogumo do. But I think it would be a really, really cool design and would be a really neat reference to the Jorogumo. And it would definitely make Ariados a lot cooler. And it also would be playing into that whole spider thing where, like, spiders like to lure prey in, and then they get caught in their web, and that just, it all works so well. Maybe they can make it a rival to Spidops if they wanted to tie it into a new Pokemon. And that would be kind of cool, too, because Ledian would be tied, its evolution would be tied to Lokix, and then Ariados' evolution would be tied to Spidops. That'd be a nice way to, like, connect a bunch of dots here. I just think that, Scarlet and Violet didn't have many bug-type Pokemon, and to be honest, Lokix and Slitherwing are incredible, but Spidops and especially the Rellor line were just not there for me. So I really want more bug types, and I say what better way than to take two great bug types and give them an evolution. Now, next up, I thought we'd take a Pokemon and give it a split evolution, because sometimes that happens, right? Like in Legends Arceus, sure, we got evolutions like Stantler can now evolve into Weirdeer, and Ursaring can now evolve into Ursaluna. But we also got the Scyther line. Now, instead of Scyther evolving into Scizor, it can also evolve into Cleavor, similar to how in Gym 4 they made it where Kirlia, who previously was able to evolve into Gardevoir, can now also evolve into Gallade, two separate routes. And I said, let's do this again with Loudred. And I did some digging for this one, so I'm really proud of this one. But basically, there is this legend in Tohoku of something that's just kind of referred to as Uwan. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly as well. But what this is like people reported like just hearing in the woods or something, just a voice that says Uwan. And there's no meaning to that word. But it's like a mass thing that people will hear sometimes. And like there's legends about a man who stayed in a house, but him and his wife were driven out of the house because they kept waking up in the middle of the night to just a disembodied voice saying Uwan, and just, you know, there being a whole sound effect to that, what with people hearing things. I thought that a sound-based Pokemon like Loudred would be perfect for this. You give it an evolution where it's kind of based off of this Uwan thing, and it kind of goes back to a Whisper, you know, similar to how Whisper is a Whisper, you know, and it would be normal Ghost type, which is a very great typing, and I think could give the Loudred line a lot of love that it really deserves. This could also work as a regional variant to Exploud, but either way, I think it will be a super, super neat line. I think, I mean, honestly, I think that would be so cool. Again, normal Ghost, let it go the Primeape route and just pick up the Ghost typing. I think that the goal of these cross-gen evolutions should be to take Pokemon and make them more competitive, because, you know, competitive changes over time. You know, a Pokemon that's great in Gen 2 might not be great now. You know, like Tauros was fantastic in Gens 1 and 2. Well, Tauros is not exactly known as being a competitive monster today. So again, that's what regional, or not regional evolutions, but cross-gen evolutions should do in my opinion, and that's what they've been doing with it. You know, Primeape was a Pokemon long forgotten, buried in the mass of pure fighting type Pokemon, and so they said, okay, well, let's make that fighting Ghost, and then see how people feel about it. And sure enough, it is, you know, one of the most popular Pokemon, seeing a lot of usage in doubles and VGC, as well as getting banned in Smogon. So, you know, I say give a similar treatment to Loudred. Now, this next Pokemon is going to be for Clawitzer, an evolution for it. And again, we're going to go with that Ghost typing. It's just so good. I'm sorry. I love that. But Water Ghost, I think, will be really good for this. And I'm basing it off of, again, I'm going to read this to make sure, the Amikiri. And what this is it's a shrimp-like yokai that really likes to cut nets, fishing nets, all this. So you could make it water dark because it's like a pest to fishermen. But either way, I think that would be a really cool idea for Clawitzer evolution. Clawitzer is another Pokemon that I think has an amazing design, but just isn't quite there competitively. And again, I think giving it a Ghost typing or a Dark typing would work really well. Honestly, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, the Dark typing would be really nice, because now it gets an even bigger boost to Dark Pulse, because it would get stabbed from Dark Pulse. Then it has the Mega Launcher ability, so it would be an even bigger boost to Dark Pulse. So that would be super neat. And also, just basing these Pokemon off of yokai would be such a cool way to turn these Pokemon, especially a Pokemon like Clawitzer that was first seen in Kalos, a region based off of France, now getting Japanese inspirations in its designs going forward. Lastly, the Pokemon that I probably am most excited about in terms of to see it get an evolution, not that these will, but that if this one did, is Mightyanna. And once again, we're going to evolve into a Dark Ghost typing. It's a great typing. It's only weak to Fairy, so it's great defensively, only having the one weakness, and it is great offensively because, you know, the Dark typing's very good offensively, and the Ghost typing is very good offensively. So, I mean, yeah, I think this would be perfect. And what I'm basing this off of, one more time, I'm going to read, the Inugami. And what the Inugami is like a ghost dog, kind of, is a spirit of a dog. And they're often kind of portrayed as pretty benevolent, like very much protective of their family. The kind of kicker here, though, is that they're very loyal to their family, but that often means that when their family wants something, they will kind of do some not necessarily good things to get those things for its family. And so I think that would be a really cool thing to do with Mightyanna. And I know Mightyanna is inspired by a hyena, but it also does seem to have some wolf characteristics to it. So this will be leaning more into the canid designs of Mightyanna by making an Inugami something that is a canid. It just allows us to get a true hyena Pokemon down the road, so I'm not complaining about it. But yeah, I think this will be perfect for Mightyanna. I think it's the perfect mon to get because it already has that Dark typing, so it already has that whole, it will do it by any means necessary. Just add the Ghost type to it, and once again, giving it that Primeape treatment where a Pokemon that's not necessarily considered good now can now see some new light, and it also allows it to stand out from the other Dark type dogs. I mean, you know, we have Houndoom and it's Dark Fire, So Mightyanna kind of falls in comparison because it's just pure dark. And then now we have Mobostiv and it's pure dark. So just let Mightyanna be special again because it's such a cool design. But yeah, be sure to let me know in the comments below which of these evolutions you would slap onto your DLC team. Be sure to also let me know your ideas for some cool new evolutions in the comments below. Bonus points if they are based off of like actual Tohoku animals or folklore, any of that kind of thing. If you can back up why they would do it, that bonus points. Be sure to also like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We're going to do more with the Teal Mask, new Pokemon, new regional forms, and then we'll move on to the Indigo Disc. You don't want to miss that, so like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And until next time, I will see all of you later.